Fire, take it away.
You know, I just really like how Moses goes with the changes in the wind. You know, it's so great. It really works. All right, folks. Well, here we go. Now we're going to be jumping into our second match in the grand finals, but don't let the top of the screen fool you. TSM came into this one with a 1-0 lead because they were in the upper bracket finals. They won that. The advantage was that TSM would have that win. That is now gone as Sentinels have managed to pick up that Haven game. Now we're going to be moving forward here, and out of the gate, you're going to get a pick for Shazam, and they're just going to go right over toward mid and just take control of Heaven. Just scope all around this. So, like, they'll have Shazam playing over there. He looked, he didn't see what he liked, so they just wait this one around here. Meanwhile, for TSM, they're kind of scrambling a little bit, but they've got a read on what is going to be happening here. Look out, though, for that fight for the Cypher. Potentially, but they're biding their time because of this wall.
And there is a Cypher camera as well, just staring at ramp. So they've got that at any point just to try and gain any information. But it is going to be the push onto the A site here.
Oh, and they block off Drone in the back. So he can't really get involved in the fight. And he's just going to have to focus on actually tearing that one down. But Wardell, though, he'll be the one to handle all the business that's necessary. Sinatra gets a kill. Dapper as well gets followed. Spike now will be planted, and it is just going to be Dapper. He's healthy. He's Dapper. Whether or not, though, this is going to work out, he has to be mindful of the fact that there were players coming from that ramp side, and that will be a first blood here for TSM as they manage to pick up this. And this goes right back to your point, Gaskin, that on the defense, this is where TSM, they just have to rack up as much as they possibly can here. The clock will be ticking. Defensive side, the map is favored for it. Still, you know, even with the adjustments, still very favored. It's vital that they do well here in this first half.
And there was a lot of things to digest about that early round from TSM as well. I mean, the use of Omen, the paranoia being sent straight towards A main to ensure that there wasn't going to be a quick pistol push that's going to send anyone back if anyone was going to be at A, but unfortunately there wasn't anyone in that particular instance. But on the other side for Sentinels, they placed the Cypher camera over towards A as well, so we're going to have this battle for A early on. And whether we're going to see more of that battle actually go down and whether it's going to be a consistent try and dip in and out.
And now for me, unfortunately, my screen had froze, so just wanted to let you know. Not sure if it did for you.
Same for me.
Okay. Okay.
So for now, I mean, we guess we just talk to each other. And there we go.
There we
Never
go.
mind. We're back.
Oof, okay, we're good. We're good. A little worry there for a moment.
Look at these smokes.
And just full vision denial. Hayes playing this angle here. Pops one, gets damage into the second. The paranoia is going to be so chunky too. So that setup, it was just going to fall apart. As soon as that paranoia came, there was just really nowhere that they could go. And the off angle too, just really just clean.
Yeah, Cutler just positioning himself differently across various angles on this map just to ensure that that paranoia can be used and not predicted by Sentinels. Yeah. Because you can get very aggressive with the paranoia. See, at the moment, on the side of Sentinels, now they do have weapons. It is just a spread evenly across the map. One, just making sure there's no push towards A. Two, making sure there's no push towards B. And then the other two just holding down middle. Just ensuring there's not going to be any aggression here from TSM. There's that camera again on the A side just to push the player away from ramps. But there is that aggression into B garage. Sinatra gets one. Hayes is going to be able to retreat after the trade. And that's big. That's important.
Yeah, and I did like the start there for the slow and the nade. You got people that will always just try and go into that and go for the peak, get a little overzealous, and that actually was just good read of the situation there by the defense to drop back, wait for the opportunity, and then go back in because they thought that they had some safety, some room to breathe. Now, though, the action will be for Hayes, and Hayes, a slow orb is actually just going to prevent them from being able to get a little bit more movement in Heaven. Cutler just waiting this one out. But now that the slow orb has dissipated, they'll be receiving them down low. Hayes is on this angle, right down low, but that is just a Shazam peak for just for the win. That was just great. But here's Wardell. He's still alive. He's still going to be a problem. But I think as he creeps forward here, Shazam will be waiting for this.
Yeah.
Clean kill on Dapper as he tried to make a problem for them on the flank. 2v3. Watch out for the stage just pushing out. They heard it as well. Sick heard that movement, so jumped right on the opportunity to do so. Drone, this is not going to be a winnable situation for him. Couldn't even get inside of the site. And Sentinels will take this round win. They'll put their first here in our second game of the day in this best of 5.
I'm surprised. I thought maybe Drone would be the one getting aggressive and try and force something on the side, but I think that shows the confidence of Wardell and how much this means to Wardell as well. Like, he is prepared to put his life on the line, put his op on the line to try and pick up that third round and get some picks and try and do some damage to the economy of Sentinels. It was very simple for Sentinels, realistically, to get up towards B Heaven. They just used the dark cover to cut off Wardell over towards ropes. They just bundled up, and as soon as they are there together, just ensure that you push at the same time. You use all the utility to block off any vision elsewhere, and then it was sick. Hitting shots, getting onto site, as he always does. The man is so confident, and it doesn't really matter what agent he plays. He seems to be there or thereabouts, the right place at the right time, and it's aggression again towards A. Sinatra gets the opener onto Sub Rosa. So for all this time, they've just been putting a camera up and showing presence, but now when TSM maybe don't expect it, instead you get the double push to ensure they get the trade.
But Wardell's going to even the odds here with that shot on the Zom, so you lose out the paranoia, the smoke, that very critical utility that they could use to try and take site here. Oh man, Shazam, he looked away. He was still holding the angle, but then he thought that, well, if I turn this corner, someone will surely be there. And as he looked, it just did not pay off for him. Drone being forced back on screens. Wardell didn't like the shot, so he's going to tailwind out of there. It wasn't an angle that he was comfortable with. Then Drone comes right back into the fray. Spike down, but it's basically just going to be sick. And it doesn't matter how good you are as a battle sage. There's just no room for you to be able to work with. They suffocated him on A site. And TSM will get another round here after Sentinels were able to finally respond with one. And even that look at the beginning, I thought was just a great start for them. But it's about the recovery, and also Wardell being that recovery for them. That kill right there just reevaluated their entire game plan.
Yeah, we see this kind of dark cover being pushed towards ropes quite often, but actually Oppers are now more and more confident to push out to the right-hand side to get that pick from Market. So I think people are going to start to become a little bit wise to it, so you've got to be careful if you are the Opper. You don't want to get too predictable. It's going to be a heavy push towards A this time for Sentinels, and RTSM going to have the right players in the right time. Wardell doesn't connect with that shot, but look at this flash from Drone. It's huge.
When you see a jet with a judge, really the only option is just to fly at someone's face and shoot them a million times. But they will be able to use that res to bring them back into the fight here. So that's going to give them that slight advantage. And they know that someone's still going to be tucked away. So Shazam being brought back in really doesn't end up doing anything as Hayes gets a kill. And just look at the peak as well. Using the glass above screens to just give him a bit more intel as to where they're going to be located. Now, though, they'll jump right back over because I think he saw maybe it was maybe one player there, but there was just not enough for him to go for that commitment. There's Wardell as he drops back over to the side, a comfortable position by the elbow. This guy is basically going to be dead to rights. But watch out, though, because Zoms was waiting for him. Hayes was prepared to actually help him out. Now 2v2. Spike's still going to be in play here for Sentinels. And they go over toward B because they think that maybe they actually rotated within all of that commotion.
It's because they just
Hayes
held
doesn't
back.
get what he wants. Yeah, he doesn't get what he wants. He doesn't see anything. So they're still going to be a bit perplexed as to where they're going to be. But time is ticking.
They just held that spike towards A main. They didn't commit to it. They forced TSM onto the site. But now they're going to push towards B. And it's going to be a 2 versus 1, and they make it. A 2 versus 1 to end the round as well. Spike will go down. And we're going to have to see whether this 1 versus 2 retake for Hayes is actually going to be successful. At least he's got full health here.
Full health. He's got all the armor to work with, too. Now, look at that, though. This is a smart one because with Dapper going all the way wrapping around toward heaven, it's going to give Hayes like really just no open opportunities here. Going to run right into the stage on the other side. So that's going to be the exchange. And he's expecting the poke to be coming in from that garage, but instead it's Dapper from heaven. As soon as that spike went down, he just sprinted around because they knew where he was going to be. They played that expertly as expected between these two teams, and they turned a bad situation into a win.
So by holding the spike and not planting, not committing to that site, Sentinels ensured they continuously had the player advantage because on the side for TSM, they were reluctant to go for the full rotate because the spike hadn't been planted. There was going to be comms there, I'm sure, of spike hasn't gone down yet, no one's on. Make sure we're still at B. Make sure there's still some presence there so we don't get duped here.
Ooh, this reactive paranoia, but it does a whole bunch of damage. Thankfully, it's only going to be to the run it back state. They know that they're still going to be here by A, so that's fine. I think that gave them enough to work around with. Preemptive wall 2 at mid, just to provide some safety, some coverage. So things slow down here yet again. Sabrosa is going to be the first point of contact. Satchel comes through. He hears that jet dash over to the side, and Sabrosa continues to be up here in causing distractions and problems as well. And this guy's going to get toasted in the corner.
Oh,
but when you think that he's going to be out of it, he still manages to squeak away 2 kills. It's going to be very difficult for him to work with anything here with 18 HP. He does have... He gets another one? I mean, the man is 18 HP, but he's still being effective. Now he's going to just go right over toward B. Saw that a player was going to be there. That gives him some intel that the only one that will be left here at A is the sniper. 32 seconds remaining. Clock is going to continue to tick down. Wardell has repositioned over towards screens. And now they'll be sending 2 players here too. That's going to be FaZe ready and waiting for that shot. He had to make a decision there. I think he thought maybe if he cleared that, just got a little bit more confidence, he could have actually went and charged over to B. Perhaps it was going to be wide open, but that was just a Zom. I just stunned.
Stunned by Zombs, and I think the opposition team was as well. They wouldn't expect those rounds to be that expensive. I mean, right at the start, though, the amount of utility that was sent towards A, the paranoia and the boombot to try and get the wide peak for Sentinels, but TSM doing very well if you consider the fact they don't have a Cypher and they can't just entrust that one Cypher to play on a site. They're instead stacking sites and they're predicting where Sentinels are going to be, and they're doing it very successfully.
Clone killed.
Shazam getting that first frag there to start things off. Also watch out for that showstopper. I don't think it's found any targets. Mid is available now. FaZe watching the angle with this op. Only one player is going to be there for the cross, and the dark cover is going to block that off. Sabrosa now, he knows where they are. He knows at least where one player is going to be, and if he hears the ropes, he was going to say if he heard the ropes, he was going to go for that shot there, but that's okay. While he does use the orbital strike, it forces them. They don't really get any opportunity to back away in case things just don't go that well. I think in hindsight, he probably would have loved to have been able to hold on to that one as Zoms picks up a kill against Cutler. The paranoia does not connect with the blind on FaZe. And now TSM continue to add on. Already just, you're a little prophet, Gaskin, because you were talking about what you wanted to see TSM do, and they're doing it very well. They're getting rounds on defense. They're establishing their journey when they switch sides for that attacker.
And they're just making sure that they are rotating well, communicating, ensuring that if there's ever any sort of stack that they think is about to happen, they've got enough resources there to make it difficult for Sentinels to get onto site. Because when you look at the composition for Sentinels, I mean, they've only got a single flash, the paranoia. So once you see that paranoia go towards one site, you can kind of hedge your bets that it's probably going to be some form of a push there, as Wardell, dry peek from Sick, is not going to be rewarded. And maybe, actually, Sentinels could try and use that to their advantage. Send a paranoia to one side and just use it as a fake. Maybe you have a couple of smokes there from Omen at the same time. And perhaps that can be the way that they can get onto some of these sites, because TSM do seem to be wise to all these pushes now. They've clocked onto it, and they're starting to rack up round after round.
Yeah, and that freeze also, you can tell, you saw it on the screen. Shazam was going to be the victim there in that fight as he came out of anime. Now, Dapper just with minimal options to work around with. They're trying to see if they could pull anything out on B side, but with Wardell patrolling that with the op, and then FaZe has this angle too. It could be bad news bears for Sentinels. They see the peak too. The swing's going to be coming from the left side as well, and he's really going to be committing to that. Sabrosa does get a kill, but right then and there, it's Zoms who manages to give them a fighting chance in this round. The 3v2 still going to be quite challenging considering that they don't have any heals to work with, and Zoms is going to be in the red.
We saw what Zoms can do before when he's low on health.
It's true. And the man has no health, and then he manages to get 3 kills. So, you know, it's like, what do we know, right?
Teleport is there.
Oh,
And it doesn't matter. The drone's there as well. But okay, Dapper, I see you. Don't think you can have time to plant this,
read, though, for the TP because, well, you know, they stopped them there. So even if that didn't happen, they still had someone to be able to respond. Again, you look back, you're like, you know, it would have been nice to keep the teleport, but they do manage to get themselves a win here that will be quite fruitful for them as they continue to build upon this lead now.
I think you're happy to commit an Omen ultimate to try and secure a round. An Omen ultimate isn't that great, right? Like, it doesn't do that much. It's usually just for info. And I think this is an important round. That was an important round for TSM because they know it's going to be a weak buy for Sentinels to follow. So they don't want to throw it away and have any sort of stupidity happening in that 2 versus 1. So I can appreciate it being used there.
Ooh, Sub Rosa. I like that mid-aggression. Sinatra was not expecting that at all. He was looking over at the doorway, and then he could safely back away, go back to Hayes, get the wall up, and they're fine. He'll just go right back into the safe haven of heaven.
Wardell has just been holding this this B side, comfortably on his own. They don't need a Cypher when you've got Wardell being able to hold it that successfully with the off, and Sabrosa denying Shazam any sort of shot towards heaven.
Oh, they're cooking. Yeah, that was just into the meat grinder there. 7-2 for TSM. Aggression on mid. They were not expecting that at all. It's just another look that they provide. They're going down the well here. And what a weird turn of events as well, right? TSM picks Haven, and it just appears that their Sentinels have the playbook out. And now it's the same thing here. We go to split, and TSM, they got the playbook out. It's a game of chess, and it keeps on going. It's a very violent game of chess, but it works.
But again, it's TSM doing their research and recognizing where Sentinels, their tendencies and their patterns. Sentinels are very good at pushing towards A, gaining control of ramp, gaining control of heaven, and then being able to split a team and push towards mid and then take B or A depending on where they get those picks. But TSM have been denying that completely with their ramp presence. It's been a very successful hold for them on sites, round after round, and Sentinels haven't been able to really convert anything since.
That jump there from Hayes was a little nerve-wracking, I'm sure, for him, because Shazam was looking at him. Now Cutler has to deal with this. Does have a paranoia. Which is going to be actually deployed out, it seems. 2 kills exchanged, and Sages managed to pick up some action now.
Smoke's down.
Wardell's still going to be hard holding on B, and Sabrosa getting to work in the rope room. 2 players there. A-site's wide open. This res now couldn't come at a better time here for Sentinels.
I know exactly where you are.
And then the Neuro Theft as well. So they got a lot of intel. This is going to give them all the room that they need. There goes the paranoia. I think it did connect there for a moment.
They just tried to use their fake footsteps to try and bait them towards A, and
yeah, and then they
did that pretty successfully.
Right back to B.
And of course, with the neural theft, it is always going to make things a little bit more challenging. TSM with a little bit of money to work with, so they could go for this. And of course, with Wardell in his blades, they're certainly going to give this a go.
The poke actually came in first from Dapper. I mean, just the gall from that man while Wardell had the blades out. Respect that, because Wardell don't miss with those, not often. Shazam lined up, and finally Sentinels show some life here, as to be expected. It was only going to be so long before TSM can continuously try and prevent them on defense over and over and over again. That res is also going to be beneficial to them too, because they don't got to spend all that much money. And a neural theft at the best possible time too, Gaskin. That was, again, just another great use of utility that won them the round. Ults, I think we were always looking at ults as kind of just like there, but now players are beginning to really take the ultimate abilities and put them to use in a way that's effective toward round wins as this game continues to evolve.
Yeah, making sure they commit them to the important rounds, the rounds where the economy is going to be reset on the round after for the opposing team. For Sentinels, they found their success when they do go through middle, when they've been able to utilize dark cover to ensure that there's not going to be anyone shooting them from ropes. Then once they get control of middle, they have been finding themselves very comfortable into B Heaven, but there is an orbital strike here and awaiting for Sub Rosa, and there's a lot of people that are going to be right in the middle of this. It's going to be some damage, and it forces them out.
That was like the perfect orbital strike, and then the run it back as well. Let's not forget. So they play run it back into it. He can charge in because he's fine. He's not going to be too concerned about losing any health. He's just going to go right back to a normal state there. I love that. Shazam again is going to have to make magic happen, which he has been able to do so. It's actually going to be Dapper this time around, and then the reactive paranoia comes in. Is actually going to prep them to be able to drop them back into the site and herd them exactly where they want. Now here comes Shazam. Cutler's just watching all these different angles, and he doesn't get the Blade Storm either. Gets that kill. This round changes significantly there. Zom actually was still standing there alongside Wardell, and now that they have bounced back and got an 8th round win, it gets a bit more. I think 7-5 is fine, but in the last round here, a 9-3, even a 8-4, it's, I think 8-4 is, it changes because of pistol rounds. Like, we'll see if you get pistol rounds, you can actually build upon that, but 9-3 does become a bit dicey.
I think with how successful both of these teams are at defending on split, you'd be happy with 4 rounds. 3 rounds you can work with, especially if you pick up the pistol afterwards. But that round was almost a success from Sentinels. I mean, the paranoia coming from market as they pushed Heaven, that's the kind of standard now. It's very difficult to react to that when you're blind and you're getting pushed by 2 or 3 people. But it was positioning from TSM to ensure that it wasn't just those players in Heaven. And again, just the one player over towards A was Wardell, and then he joined the fray a little bit later. And the reactive paranoias, again, just to ensure that it's not going to be an easy push into B Heaven. Utility, great use there from TSM.
Yeah, and then the slow aura too. Let's not forget that. Hayes just gave them a lot of stall. So we just heard that the teleport was used, but I don't think it really mattered and what it benefited them there in the moment in time. But now we are in a position here where Sentinels can get themselves a 4th round win. Spike is going to go down, but Drone has a lot of utility to mess around with here. Blaze Wall can give him a transition. One player's going to be on the outside. He throws that camera out. Drone flies in, sends it, but in a blink of an eye, both players are going to be obliterated as they come through the defender's side. 8-4 going into the half. A much better result there, and I think that Sentinels are very pleased with that. I think both teams are satisfied with the result, all right? I know it seems weird to say that, but for TSM, 8-4, they're just that much closer. 9 would have been better, obviously, but 4 rounds for Sentinels, given how TSM have been playing that, Gaskin, they were not giving them much room to work with.
The scary factor is when we did see Sentinels lose split for the first time against Envy, it was going into this second half where they didn't have that many rounds on the board from their attacking side, and then they lost the pistol, and then Envy were just able to gain that momentum, right, and just dominate that economy. If TSM can do the same here, pick up these first 2, it's going to be a rough crawl back for Sentinels to try and get back into this game. And TSM did really well to counteract all the different pushes that Sentinels had to offer. I mean, the counter paranoias were great. The slow orbs, as you mentioned, were fantastic. With no Cypher and with a lack of vision, they did very well to react to all the different pushes that were coming out from Sentinels as well. They were constantly shifting Wardell site to site to make it very difficult for Sentinels to predict where to go because you don't want to run into that op from Wardell. But I love what TSM were able to do, and the perfect demonstration of how to play if you don't have a Cypher on your team.
Crazy to think that we're in a grand final for Valorant with a meta that is greatly favored for Cypher, and one of the best teams in the game opts not to run it, you know, because they have they feel like there's just going to be a little bit more utility that they can take advantage of. And I think that showed too, right? Sage is important in this one because of that wall, because of the slow orbs. But being able to have 2 duelists in this composition and also 2 controllers,
yeah, exactly,
kind of cuts the map up on a map that already is called Split.
Well, this is going to be where we should see this composition shine, right? When they're attacking, because they're going to have so much ability to block visibility here with the Omen and with the Brimstone. And it looks like it's going to be B-site favored. Maybe a paranoia sent straight into market just to try and think that it's going to be a B Heaven push, and then suddenly they're going to burst out onto B from Garage.
Dapper's gonna get a lot here with this camera. He hasn't activated it yet, but now see all the players are gonna be stacked. The rotation's gonna start to come through. The jet dash is gonna be right in effect there in the wall, common wall placement. Give them some kind of control on site, but they're actually going to be tucked away inside of the corner. Cutler's going to make the best of a bad situation, I should say, though. Drone is going to follow up as well. Now that that wall is out, we're just going to give them no access to site. It basically just built themselves a little corner there, leaving just their Phoenix and your Brim left alone. Also very weakened too.
It's a strange play because it's great because it forces them out and it means you get time to kind of chill and reset, but it also allows TSM now to rethink as to where they want to go, and Sentinels have to spread themselves across the map here. I mean, they could just opt to all stack one site and then go for the retake, or they can just put one player towards A, which is what they've done at the moment, hope he gets some information, then he falls back, waits for the plan, and then all three of them retake together. I think TSM might have been okay with that wall in a very weird way because it just allowed them to slow things down a little bit, breathe, and reevaluate.
Well, they got exactly the information that they wanted, so now they're going to cut off this area here from screens, but Sick rotates just in the nick of time. The 2 kills that are going to be activated there for Sick is just par for the course for this Battle Sage, but I think that, Dan, you were right, but the difference is that they're playing against Sick, who is just like... He just goes, he goes for everything. He just goes for the shots, and it always work out because the man's aim is just absurd.
Sick by name and sick by nature is Sick. And I think that's a very important pistol round for Sentinels. I think that if that had gone in favor of TSM, then we might have been looking at TSM taking a lead here, because TSM are one of those teams that when they're given that momentum and that like economic advantage, they will grab that, they'll hold on to it, and they will pummel you into the ground. I mean, both teams have the possibility to do that, right? That's why these are the 2 best teams. That's why they're in the grand finals, as that wall is going to be placed just very deep down middle. Usually you see it further up where the stairs are going to be, but instead it just allows for a little bit more control in mid, whilst everyone on TSM at the moment just trying to gain as much information as they can. You can see how far Cutler has been able to find his way up ramp, but it looks like Shazam is wise to it because he is, with his crosshair placement, suggesting he knows someone's going to be there.
Cutler actually plays out, but just living by that wall. Shazam, he is just so patient. Now his whole team's going to come, and Shazam's got a lot to work with here. A lot to work with. He's going to drop back. They're still going to continue to commit to this here, and Shazam has a lot of angles that he needs to be mindful of. Zoms gets 2 kills there in turn. Sinatra's going to join the fun. And that is a rapid pace on that, which I totally understand. They felt like that they just needed to overwhelm Sight. They didn't have the tools to be able to go toe-to-toe with them in the gun battles. But that will bring Sentinels within 2. And those 2 pistol rounds, Gaskin, pistols are so important in this game because of the limited amount of rounds that we're playing in, that they managed to actually breathe some life back here for Sentinels. This is big for them.
Yet again, Cutler is going to be heading towards A, and if he's not actually trying to get to ramp, he's probably just sending dark cover there just to consistently show presence so that it's not going to be an easy rotate, but Shazam gets the opener. Massive onto Sabrosa. Very important there for Sentinels. Wall goes out as well to block any sort of fast push through middle. As still Cutler just wide peeking over towards the A site. Going for the shoulder peaks, trying to gain information. Now he's going to rejoin the team, as you can see on your minimap.
And everyone just working the edges of the map, just looking to get some kind of info, right?
I got the spike.
If they can find out where, where the Omen's going to be, how's the Jet going to be positioned? Because after that kill came through from mid, they actually just brought Jet over toward Heaven on A side, right? So this is where I think this team, I don't think they really got what they wanted, and they're just now going to have to commit to this. Hayes is ready for this.
Oh,
and,
no.
Startling turn of events. Hayes actually gets a double as Sick and Dapper, they were just tired of waiting. That's going to leave Sinatra here on B side. He hasn't had the most explosive of games that we would typically see of him. But I'm not too concerned about that, considering that he can always turn it up at a moment's notice. Does manage to pick up the kill. Will use the boom bot, and also finds out that a player's going to be there. Challenger on the side, and Hayes had a moment to blink there with that Thankfully, it worked out for him, but unfortunate for Sinatra, who just had too much to handle. And the attackers do manage to come through with that one. And that push from Garage, Gaskin. What patience.
I mean, at least they've done it together. So
True,
it's not just
true.
one person pushing up and he can't be blamed. There's not going to be a scapegoat. That is a conscious decision the team has made to try and
Hey,
gain
look at this angle.
control of B Garage. But yeah, it's the off angle from FaZe that has just allowed them to really win that round. That was a round-winning double. And then Sentinels were able to push onto the site comfortably. And then Wardell having the op, just waiting there. It was easy pickings for him after that point. TSM get there first, and we're going to get the dark cover war over towards A yet again. Has been funny that consistently Zoms has tried to place the dark covers further and further down A main just to try and help out Shazam.
All sorts of dark covers going to be deployed here as well. Sub-Rose of those going to start things off, and a nice kill for him there. Now as Wardell looks around, no one's really going to give him a look that he's comfortable, or no one's going to give him a look, period, right? And then Sinatra's not going to be that player because he's playing out in the back in that connector. Doesn't have Showstopper, but... And he also does... Yeah, that's right. He also has that trapwire, but he has this nade that will just delay a push if it occurs. And then on the opposite side of the map, though, now his drone works mid. Shazam might get this pick with the Bucky, and okay, he's gonna shoot that one right up the uncomfortable areas there. Does get the kill, but that will tell them that the site is going to be available for them because they got some intel as to where players are going to be positioned there. Spike now planted all the way at the back corner.
Spike planted.
Now let's see how Sentinels, who have always been exquisite on the retake, what do they do here? They have 4 players alive. Shazam might be able to get this open kill, but it's going to be Cutler. Oh no! I actually thought that Cutler was going to get the better of Shazam there, but instead it's Shazam who thrives. Hayes, though, was waiting. They knew that he was going to be positioned there. Sinatra's dancing around this, needs to bounce this shot, and he couldn't get the gun or the bullet back into the gun in time. And even with all of that, it's going to be Sub-Rosa in the corner, because they had that bomb planted right there that they were able to angle themselves inside of that little cubby underneath Heaven. And that was just a great execute on A.
Sub-Rose's aim is just disgusting as well. He's going to have the orbital strike available to him now, and Sentinels, their money isn't too great. In this round, I mean, it all started off with Sub-Rosa taking that fight against 6. Shazam almost tried to do something, was able to at least win himself a gun, and I thought after that kill, maybe we were going to see something special from Shazam and Sinatra, but it was Sub-Rosa, who was already weak, still winning that gunfight. And we're really seeing how these individual 1v1 fights are making or breaking a lot of these post-plant positions. We are going to get a quick pause, and it will allow us to just kind of have a look at where teams are going to be residing. TSM at the moment, 4 towards B, 1 towards A. It has been Cutler just being a nuisance towards A, just to ensure that they at least keep those players over at the A site. His dark covers have been enough to make sure that no one is going to be rotating too quickly. And then TSM have been heading towards that B site and being able to get quite a lot of dominance through middle as well, if I'm completely honest. Smokes come down early just to make sure that no one can push out quickly via B Heaven. And they know there could be something freaky here because it is Sentinels on a weak buy.
Dapper doesn't really have a choice. He's going to have to back up. Actually forces him off of that position. And then Dapper's just going to send it inside, gets the spike down, and also will pick up a gun. But he does not pick up the follow-up kill onto Hayes. It's going to be Sinatra who ends up doing that. And now that spike has been picked back up, that is going to be the success of that situation, right? That he gets that spike in and they'll go back to garage, and then they could just work on what plan B is going to be here.
And they want to try and deny these weapons being picked up, but I wonder if it's too late. I think Sentinels might have been able to grab a gun, maybe even 2. And that means you could argue this is advantage Sentinels, with TSM having to make their way onto a site yet again, already committed an orbital strike. In terms of utility, still 3 smokes left for Wardell. Has his tailwind, but Sinatra,
they did not
perfect
see him go
position,
there.
has Showstopper too.
They did not see him go there, and Sick's gonna do. Oh, but there actually is gonna be the reactive there. Nice paranoia, but Sick waited for the opportunity. The satchel still does damage, but Sick again is gonna be the one that gets the last laugh there. And they'll pick up some guns for that. Some players did fall, but job well done for Sentinels. And Sinatra being in that position, and then the showstopper happening. The moment that paranoia came through and then the showstopper is activated, they're like, there's just nothing we could do here. This is a reactive showstopper for sure. And then Sick being there, just kind of like jiggle peeking, was a great just cross to help them win that round.
I mean, just great work on B site, really. The grenade from Sinatra was everything. Of course, the initial kill with the frenzy too. Just being aggressive through that smoke as he's going to be mid-controller yet again, and Sick just pokes his gun through. At least Sinatra is there for the trade. So much vision is just being cleared on this map at the moment. Makes it very difficult to go for these aggressive peaks, and if you do, you need a teammate there to back you up, and both teams have been doing that well, GB.
We've always discussed how trading in this game, it really is everything.
Yeah.
Some teams were, in this tournament in particular, like some teams weren't really emphasizing on that, and then you could see that adjustment and how just the game improves at that point when you're actively trading for your teammates. And Sentinels have been king at that because they have that trust. And the TSM, well, they were the ones that really led the charge when it came to that too. Now, though, this push is actually going to end up happening here toward B. Sinatra does manage to pick up a kill, and he's going to be slowed, but does manage to do some damage here. 6 HP to Drone. He's
Would have been dead last patch.
Yeah, would have been. That's true. He would have been dead last patch. Yes, you are right. But they're just like very few options for them here. No paranoia. I think that you just want to play these exits. If you're Zoms, get a kill on Wardell. That's nice, right?
Wardell just sitting in the dark cover, being a little bit of a sneaky beaver and getting the kill onto Zoms as well. So now for Shazam, it's just a case of saving this op. And will we see TSM go on the hunt? That's the real question. Do they want to deny the operator from Shazam? When you look at that money, it is a little bit awkward indeed. Yes, okay, Shazam, if he saves the op, he can buy for someone. Zoms can buy for himself. I mean, why wouldn't Wardell go for this? Yeah, why
wouldn't he, right? He's just going on the look. He's just trying to find it. He gets the kill. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. He might pop up on him, but Shazam gets the better of Wardell at that time there. I thought Shazam would have been in a tough spot, but he held on to that one the entire time. Could hear him just mucking around all over the site now. And you're right. The money is just weird, but they are able at least to get themselves a few rifles that they could abuse here potentially.
Yeah, they were going to force up around this op. I think they kind of have to now. We've seen TSM go up to 11 here. This is going to be the last stand really for Sentinels. They need to start getting rounds on the board and stringing rounds together. Dark cover goes all the way across the map from A site all the way to sewers just to give that support to Shazam in mid.
That high camera too, and he's going to live in this camera, right? He's one with the webcam. There's nothing that is going to prevent him from exiting this, or at least I would imagine so. He's covered. If they poke, which they will be poking slowly, he can place fabricates. They actually look away at that right at the moment now. Information has been given with the teleport there, but Dapper's good for one. Also the Neuro Theft too. That is quite good for them just to get the Neuro Theft off at that blink of an eye moment. Also Subrosa, he's going to be banged up, but should be able to get out of this. 37 HP though, 6 HP, scratch that. Spike goes down to default. They know that this is the case here, and I think, you know, as far as what this retake could look for Sentinels, they really just have to worry about 2 players. And I know that may be, you know, kind of discounting the Brimstone here, but understand that they have so many eyes just scattered about that map. Cutler will have to do something amazing here. Even with that low HP, Subrosa still get the kill, leaving only just Wardell to hold that down. Sentinels are going to maintain this control here, and they will add another point on the board. You said this was the last stand for Sentinels. They succeeded.
Yeah, they will survive a little bit longer. I love the push, though, from TSM. I mean, Cutler teleporting behind backside just to make sure that we had to see the turn from Dapper. Dapper wasn't able to get a spray down and really kind of play to his advantage with that one way. Didn't quite work out in the end, though. TSM just lost a little bit too much when they were pushing onto the site. It was a great hold by Dapper. If they were able to win that initial trade, TSM, I think that could have been their 12th on the board, but Dapper holding strong and showing how a Cypher can be played properly as well. And now for TSM, it is going to be, again, a little bit more presence towards A, but also are going to be coming out of sewers. And Ward Out gets the better of Shazam. He does not fear any man who has an op in his hand.
Sinatra apparently doesn't fear anything that could be challenging him inside of the smoke. He gets a kill and equals it up here, 4-4. Drone waiting inside of dark cover. If Wardell gets a sniff, he's going to pop that. He does see some movement and also sees another player there as well. Look out for Drone. Can actually contribute to this here, but actually is going to get caught off and then won't be able to do much now. While all that was going on, there was some activity happening over on toward the A side, but they just recognized that they needed to rotate around. And a smart read too. The wall's out. It brings those two players over. And then at that point, they send it over to A.
Almost like you dive into that trap when possible. You are the mouse. You do it on purpose. You activate the traps. You bring those players towards the site whilst the rest of the team just hobbles on over to A site. And now it's a 2 versus 3 retake for Sentinels. And it's not going to be easy. Wardell is slightly weak, though.
But he has a really nice angle here. Once Zoms pushes this, he's going to get shot. Oh, no. He actually goes for the shot, but misses it out now. Zoms and them are going to just go for the side take, but Dapper dies in the process now, just leaving Zoms alone, and Wardell gets 4 kills in that round. That is going to be match point here for TSM.
Match point on split as well. Sentinels pick, but TSM defying the norm yet again. Everything is backwards right now. The games that teams should be winning because it was their pick aren't being won. And I think that just really shows the research that has been put on by both of these teams and recognizing the strengths. Yeah. Taking away those strengths, really. Making some of those strengths actually weaknesses because they know the tendencies. They know the patterns.
Pressure's on here for Sentinels to try and hold this. They're on that favor side of defense.
Smoke's down.
Let's keep in mind, though, that that half was very well done for TSM. That's why they're going to be in the position that they're in right now. And Zoms is going to be with a weak stinger there, but Shazam still has that op and has his teammates back. Zoms is going to go inside of the dark cover, and here's movement. So he actually exchanges positions there for a moment. Shazam hits a big shot there. Now it's just going to be one player left alive for TSM. And he's coming all the way around. Dapper waiting, potentially. FaZe can win this one. The Rocket does not get anything, and actually may have heard that too by screams. Oh, no. I thought that was going to be a connection, but he doesn't get a kill. Now Sinatra waiting on site.
They've got all the info. Like, they know where he is.
Know where he is.
That was his chance. He had to hit those shots.
And FaZe just has to look at too many areas. He has to worry about heaven. He has to worry about screens. But now he knows exactly where these two players are going to be. Heals himself up now. The poke. Dapper just attempting to go for the look, but they double peek there, and it works. Sentinel's still going to be alive here on split.
And it was a weak buy, but it was all Shazam again with the op, just getting some of those big frags. But their buy is not going to be great. But also on the side for TSM, money looking a little bit weird. This is going to be an odd round. I mean, I wonder whether we're going to see a full eco from TSM just because they've got the round advantages here and they could probably at least just afford to give up one, but Wardell committing to the op. And we're going to see sheriffs elsewhere. They are just making sure that they are going to have enough for the next. And I guess technically advantage Sentinels when you look at the weapons that are available, but a very scrappy round in terms of what's available for economy. Again, you're going to have the open off towards A and the dark cover being sent in the same places. And Dapper gets the opener onto FaZe. FaZe has tried to walk so many times onto that site. But yeah, this Cypher control on B site has been strong.
That camera, oh man, that camera's amazing because now he's still going to be in the camera. So when they kill it, they know that they're still going to be hanging out there, right? There isn't really much space for them to go within a few moments where that kill took place. And the angle held on bottom plat of Heaven too really has just been that's why you want Cypher on split, because of that right there. Just the utility usage, the vision that you obtain. Now Shazam is actually going to be running into 3 members here if they decide to go for this. Which Drone is going to be the first one. Sabrosa following right behind. They're stacking up now. And Shazam's just checking his corners as he should. He has a teammate there to back him up too. They're going to go for this. And now with that shot, that's actually going to be the push. Sabrosa manages to get the kill, but Stick is going to be waiting in the wings. And that's 2 for him. Oh, this is a big round for Sentinels, but Wardell pokes around. It's still going to be so tough because he's by himself. He only has a few seconds remaining, and Sentinels are going to have 10 rounds on the board, Gaskin. They're still in it.
Still in it, and Sabrosa was the only one who didn't really have the ability to save money completely, so he's going to be on half armor. But aside from that, we're going to have a full buy across the board for the entire game. And well, if Sentinels win this one, they reset the money for TSM again, and suddenly we're potentially looking at an overtime here. So this needs to be the round realistically from TSM. Otherwise, they're going to be on a force buy and maybe have to rely on a little bit of utility. 3 towards A, 2 towards B. Plenty of traps around B as well, tripwires, and of course Cypher is going to be the main presence. It's going to be run it back to try and get onto A here.
Yeah, and that Paranoia reactive forces him back, but they know the Paranoia is not going to be available to them now, and that was a job well done at the outer lanes of the map. And then FaZe pushes inside of Garage, so this actually is going to take a lot of activity over here toward B side, even though the spike is going to be located at A. This is just a great fake to pull attention over toward FaZe. Now that they know that that kill has happened,
no,
they're actually just going to have Zoms here to try and hold this thing off. The Neuro Theft has been used, so they know where they're located, but Zoms, I mean, Zoms by right in the back sight now, and he bails away right in the nick of time. Shazam finds Wardell. Only player's going to be left alive is Cutler. There is just no real options for him. And we are within 1.
And look at that money. It is not going to be an easy round for TSM whatsoever, but how much utility did they carry over from that round is the real question. I imagine they are probably going to get SMGs, maybe a Bulldog, and commit to a decent amount of utility. I mean, FaZe did everything there, getting onto the B site. He's been walking onto that B site so much and having so little success, but finally breaks through. But unfortunately, the rest of the team committed to that A site, and they walked straight into a Zoms who did not seem to miss a shot. 12-11, potential overtime on the cards unless we see something now from TSM in their final attacking round here to try and take this to 2-1 and advantage them in this best of 5.
Get out of my way.
Blade Storm used. That could actually be a big deal for them. But that's going to be on the other side of the map. They don't really need to worry about that right now. What they need to worry about here is getting stalled out on Heaven, right where Sick is. And he's playing a closer game here on Heaven. So the wall play and a Paranoia use, but that means they have to use a lot to get through the wall. So they just another brilliant play, because with that wall now, they managed to take control of this, but this gives the team the rest of the chances to get inside. Remember, folks, if they manage to get this win, Sentinels, we will be going to overtime.
Sentinels are just playing far more defensive here. You can see they recognize the money for TSM. They want to force TSM to do something, but TSM are going to go all the way to defend to spawn. Zoms does get 1, but at least Wardell is there for the trade, and that's a gun to Wardell here, GB, and that is big, big news.
Yes, but Wardell is going to be split up from the rest of the team, so no one was there to help him out. Shazam gets kills with the knives there, but Shazam actually can't back away, and now the A site's going to be available here. Oh man, it's going to be a 3v2. Sabrosa dies because of that. They have a res, but they won't be able to use it against anyone. 75 HP for FaZe. 2 to 3 players are going to be located here by the screens. And FaZe manages to get 1. The slow orb is going to go out there. FaZe continues. He goes in for another. That's going to give Cutler an advantage here. He plays the corner now. And if he gets this kill, I would just be stunned. They turn a awful situation into something spectacular. in an angle that I do not think Sick is going to be prepared for here. The burst, and that is going to do it. TSM